always, not every day, but once in a week, voices of note get up and speak. They tell stories, these voices, Listen up, people, listen up to the show for voices that move and voices that shape. This is the show. This is my mixtape. Right, my name is Soup, and as always, on Radio Valley 99.9 FM at about this time every Friday, we'll bring to you the show that's called My Mixtape. Loyally behind the controls this time is NC Tile, a face that some people recognize, some people don't. And in that respect, I have to say my guest today also is somewhat of that sort of a personality. Many of you would have had seen him on the stage of various stages all over the place, whether it's at Namge Artisanal Brewery in Paro or at what is it, some Club 76 or whatever that's called, Mojo Park, sometimes at the Clock Tower. Some of you might have even seen him on different stages, even in India, where in Nagaland I think he performed as well. It is my pleasure to welcome on the show my very good friend and almost like a Nochu, Dawa Drakpa from the Baby Boomers. Used to be the Baby Boomers. Or what is it? Is it the Baby Boomers still?
I would personally like to think that I'm still a Baby Boomers.
All right, okay. Yeah. All right, okay, so that settles it. Dawa Drakpa, the guitarist from the Baby Boomers.
Hi, folks.
There you go. Ladies, take a good look at him. He's known to be quite popular with them, although he's a little shy and withdrawn. He won't admit that. Anyway, yeah, so Dawa, splendid having you here.
Glad to be here.
Likewise. Glad to have you here. Right. First things first, tell us what's happening these days?
Well, a lot of things, actually. I've been traveling, and I recently got back, and I joined the Valley Studios, which is a new experience for me.
All right.
And every day I'm learning here, and it's basically to do with ads and script writings, and I'm very happy with it.
Okay, good. Valley Studio, by the way, happens to be a sister organization of Radio Valley. It is the branding branch of Radio Valley. Maybe we ought to... Oh, by the way, we are on video. Did I forget to mention that? We are on video. Since last week, we've been on video. The only thing that hasn't... Well, it's still the same in many ways. Because we still don't have a sponsor. Maybe Valley Studios should sponsor this show. Right. Anyway, yeah, we're trying to reach out to people out there. As have discovered, people at the studio have been extremely busy, and we haven't been able to get a sponsor yet. But I need to put this word out there that if at all you need to advertise your product, or promote your products or services, whatever it is, your company, this is probably a good place to do it. Because thank you so much, by the way, for all the people who tuned in to the show, of course, on radio as always. But then again, because we're on video, so many of you have gotten onto the video, looked at the YouTube video, right, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much. Thanks so much. A lot of you, in fact, have been extremely kind with your words and had a lot of nice things to say about the show, and that is always, like I say, in the end, that's what I live for. I mean, that's why I do this. Thank you so much. Right, back to you, Dawa. Right, so now you're working with Valley Studios, and like you said, it's about scripts, advertising, etc. It's branding, essentially, right? Exactly. And it's something that you're learning now?
Yes.
Right, okay. But you, of course, have cut your teeth, more or less, so to speak, and have established yourself as a musician up until now. That's how most people recognize you. Although I think some people might debate and say you are better known as a womanizer. Which you're not, by the way.
No, I'm actually a very shy person.
Yes, he's a very shy person. It's just that women flock to this guy. They see him on stage and they're like, oh, that guy's so cute. Look at him. He is cute. And then, of course, women flock to him, and he as I have noticed on most occasions, he will withdraw and he will like slinker away into some little corner and then disappear in no time at all. So it is entirely untrue when I say that he's a womanizer. He isn't, in fact. I know Dawa to be one of the sweetest guys ever. Right, anyway. Yep, so Dawa, tell us about you and, your beginnings. I'm sure a lot of people want to know, where did you start off? I mean, like, what kind of family you grew up in? Where were you born? All of that. Come on.
Well, I was born and raised in Phinseling, and that's pretty much where my musical career began.
Okay.
And, I would go in the streets of Jaigong.
Okay.
And I would browse in the streets, the footpath streets, where they would sell CDs, MP3s of the artists that most people wouldn't know about.
Right.
And I would browse through, and I would get these CDs of great compilations of artists, and that's pretty much how it started off.
Right, yeah, but
musically.
Okay, fine, but I mean there had to be a reason why you went out there and got those CDs. I mean, it wasn't just the CDs. Somebody had to have influenced you. I'm getting a call right now, which is my fault. Shouldn't be happening, right? Anyway, yeah, but somebody had to have influenced you, or some things would have influenced you in making you like music, two, shape your taste. It's got to be.
Yeah, when I first started off, taste was really bad. I started off listening to new wave punk rock,
which is not bad. I mean, music is always subjective.
Yeah,
right?
but I grew into it. And,
right.
Now I'm starting to listen to jazz and Miles Davis and Mingus, Charlie Mingus.
Wow.
And then Joe Pass, and it's been great. And when I first started off playing music, the first thing that really started me off was when my mother actually passed away.
Okay.
When I was very young.
Sorry to hear that.
And I had to get back, and the only thing that got me out of that misery was music.
Oh.
And Beatles, yes, Beatles will always be a part of my life, because it was a huge life-changing moment. It was a kind of epiphany for me.
Okay.
They have always been there for me through my college days, my emotional college days, my high school days, got me through applications, and I owe it to the Beatles.
Wow.
They are the only reason why I'm here at the show. I'm talking to you.
I want to make an appeal out. I know this will probably never reach his ears, or or he will never get to see this, probably. But Paul McCartney, sir, this man here has been influenced by you to a great degree and owes you a lot, he says. So maybe you should sponsor the next show.
Yes.
No, anyway, but please continue. Right, okay. So the Beatles is that important to you?
Yes, very much. Because John Lennon and Paul McCartney went through the same traumatizing moments.
Okay.
So, and that's how they started off playing music. And it pretty much made sense to me as well.
Okay.
And and then I traced back, and I wanted to find out more, and what they were listening to, how they got inspired. And then when I dug in deep, I found out that they listened to Elvis Presley. And then I got more into Elvis Presley, and then I traced back again. I went deeper, and then turns out that Elvis Presley got inspired by listening to black musicians.
Yes, a lot of the black music. In fact, he stole a lot of their music, right?
He ripped.
He ripped them off. Yeah.
So,
which isn't all too bad.
Yes,
anyway, but we can talk about that.
It's all a learning process.
Yeah.
And then that's how I got to trace back to the roots, and it got very interesting after that.
Okay.
Made me want to do more.
Right.
And then not just stick to one thing and just explore the whole genre, and it's been amazing.
Okay.
Ever since.
Okay. I want to get further into that, about you and your life and your education and all of that. But this musical journey itself is interesting. When I first saw you and came to hear about you and actually heard you play, was at a competition many years ago at the YDF.
Yes, it was 7.5 years ago.
Wow, it's been that long. Right.
I remember it.
Okay. And at that time, you guys came out as the Baby Boomers. And you called yourself the Baby Boomers because you were playing music from the Baby Boomer era. A lot of Beatles and rock and roll and stuff like that. And the thing is this. The way I see you, it's like you are actually trying to go back in time. I mean, okay, you started with the Baby Boomers thing, and then you said, like, you heard that, John and Paul and the Beatles and all, they were listening to Elvis, and then Elvis was listening to the black guys, and then you get into the blues, and then when you get into the blues, then you get into the jazz, and there you go, and then right now you're messing with the jazz, right? So yours is a backward journey, more or less. I mean, a lot of people want to get, progressive. Well, I wouldn't really say progressive, because a lot of the music that you find today, especially pop music, is junk.
Yeah, jazz is where it stops, because if you go further back, then it leads you to classical, and classical is more to do with discipline, and I have none of that.
Right. Glad to know that you admit that and you understand that. That's. I have to say that classical also is something that I don't really get, but I do get into the mood for it. Yes, I mean, to listen for it. Yeah. Sometimes in evenings when I am sitting all alone by the window, I listen to classical music, and I cannot say what I want to say, but on video I can. A nice thick Cuban, right, and classical music goes very well. Right, anyway, okay, so let's just delve into your music then. Your playlist, more specifically. The number one song over here is, in fact, I think the first song that you guys took out as a single, right?
Indeed.
Like a Brie.
Yes.
Like a Brie. A lot of people keep asking, what is a Brie? I mean, what does it even mean, like a Brie? I, for a fact, actually, I didn't know either when it came out, but I found out from you guys, I think, that it actually means some kind of cheese, a sweet cheese, is it?
Sweet, soft cheese.
Sweet, soft cheese. I suppose that must be something like our, the chugo that we put in our tip.
Oh, like the dessert.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
that's
possible.
very nice.
I think so. Or paneer could be brie also, I think. Could be. Anyway, so yeah, tell us about this, like a brie. First of all, why are you thinking about cheese?
Well, since a lot of us like cheese, and I figured I'd use... A lot of my songs has something to do with food.
Oh, yeah. But
the
you
second
don't
song
look like a foodie. I mean,
no, not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. But my second song, it starts off with coffee, caramel coffee. Talks about coffee. Then I talk about cheese. I don't know what next, but yeah, definitely something delicious.
All right, okay. Well, as long as you're not talking about sweet, it's all right.
Yes, that's the whole point. That's one reason I wanted to use brie instead of sweet.
Okay. All right, but yeah, what is the song about, like a brie?
Well, this is actually a tribute song to one of our late friends.
Okay.
Who passed away in 2013.
All right.
Is Sonam Topton. He used to play with us, and he used to hang out
fantastic
with us,
singer he was. Yes.
And it was a tribute song to him.
Okay.
And remembering him.
Okay.
So that's how we initially started to write our songs. That was the first song that kicked us off to compose our original stuff and not cover.
Right. Yeah, of course, all of us remember Top Den. If you've heard Tam Tsisum, that's the song that he's probably best known for. He used to perform very often with you guys.
Yes.
Yeah. And so Like a Brie, I didn't know until today that Like a Brie was a tribute song to Top Den. I think that's very kind of you guys and very thoughtful as well. Right. Anyway, but yeah, so let's take a listen to it then, Like a Brie.
How often in my dreams I see you playing.
Right. Welcome back on the show. For those of you who've tuned in late, you are listening to my mixtape here on Radio Valley 99.9 FM. My name is Soup. Behind the controls is NC, and our guest today is the guitarist from the Baby Boomers, Dawa Drakpa. I almost said Bawa. It kind of got to the tip of my tongue and then went, last moment it went Tawa, right? Anyway, so lest I forget, and I wanted to mention this earlier, we are on video, and I wanted to mention earlier that the video coverage is being done by Lavanya Films. Right, we have Bhupen and... I'm so bad with names. Sorry, yeah, help me. Kushab, yes, Kushab and Bhupen from Lavanya Films who are doing this video coverage for us. Thank you so much, guys. Fantastic job, by the way. All right, okay, back to our guest, Dawa Drakpa. All right, so Dawa, Like a Brie, we just listened to that a while ago. One would have expected that for a group that had already by then become recognized as rock and roll players, more or less, and also released a video, "Can Buy Me Love,"
yes.
A Beatles cover.
We have a total of three videos.
Right. Back then it was "Can Buy Me Love," and
yes.
Nobody would have really expected this sort of haunting, laid back, almost hypnotic a tune like a Brie from you guys. Was this a conscious decision?
Well, it was, I think, because it was our very first song, and we had to we needed to be serious about it, and that's why we wrote Like a Brie in such a way that it would gain that seriousness from everybody else, not just the band. So everybody got together and got serious about it, and this being a tribute song,
right, appropriately,
so it meant a lot for the ones who were like involved in making this music.
I think so. When we watch the video as well, we see a lot of candlelight.
Yes,
a lot of candlelight in there, and I think that was, now that you mention it, I get the sense of it. I mean, I didn't know what it meant at that time, but now that you mentioned that it was a tribute song, I get it. We're like candles, right? We flicker, and then before we know it, our time is out and we're burnt away. And some of us go out faster and sooner than others. And the late Somtop didn't just happen to be one of those who shone so bright that he burnt out very quickly. He was an amazing singer, an amazing person, a fantastic basketball player as well, I remember. What a shame that we lost him so early in his life. Right, I don't want to put a downer on things, having paid necessary tribute to Topden again. I don't want to put a downer on things nonetheless. So Dawa, tell us about this. Okay, so this whole thing about the baby boomers, how did you guys start?
9 years ago, I was playing covers and listening to Beatles, and I was playing it to my friends, and I was playing it to them, and turns out that they've never heard of Beatles before. Okay. And I took advantage of it, saying that I had written the songs. And for that, I've like enjoyed all those great moments.
Right, where you were...
Yeah, such was the advantage back then. And that kept going on for a while, and I met a couple of friends on the way, and we decided to form a band. And it happened also quick that we got a chance to play at the PBS Spotlight, which was showcasing talents. And and at that time, playing Beatles music and playing music from the baby boomers era was a big advantage for us, because we got a lot of attention, because people never saw kids singing Roy Orbison or Everly Brothers or Elvis Presley. And that got us a lot of attention, and it got us a lot of gigs. And one of the gigs that was I think it was a rock concert.
Okay.
And we got called up for that, and we were very excited, and we wanted to try it out, and we applied the same method. We played Chuck Berry, and we played older stuff that people never heard of, and that pretty much blew everybody's mind. And you being one of the judges and hearing Chuck Berry must have been...
I wasn't a judge, I was... was I? I think I was. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the whole point.
Right.
So the trick was to stick to older songs, and as long as it's organic, you don't need to panic. That was ringing in my head all the time, and it was just the three of us. No bass player,
yes.
no drummer. It was 2 guitars and 3 vocals. And the other bands, they had everything, and even the drummer, he had the wind chimes and he had the cowbells, and they got everything. But we, on the other hand, we weren't well equipped, but still then Chuck Berry and Elvis Presley saved us.
Now that I remember it clearly, I remember I was in fact emceeing. I was hosting the show. I wasn't a judge, but I remember who the judges were, and here's what worked for you guys. And I think they were under the same impression as me. They were as impressed as I was. The thing was, here was a group of early teenagers, and who would have expected that, you would be playing stuff from the 50s and the 60s, which that really blew everyone's mind. Yeah, because you had the other bands and they were trying to do the rock stuff because they had looked up at bands like mine, Who's Your Daddy, and also they wanted to do the AC/DCs and the Iron Maidens and all of that stuff. And a lot of them were doing it, but they were doing it very badly, right? Understandably. And then you guys came along very neatly, doing old stuff and doing it properly. And I think that's what appealed to the judges as well. And it just so happened that the judges were also senior people who have been playing music for a very long time.
From the baby boomers era.
From the baby boomers era. And then obviously when you play songs that are from their childhood, they're like, oh yeah. And it's these kids, they're playing stuff from my childhood. Okay, man. Obviously, they'll be impressed. But yeah, and I have to say that it was very refreshing for many of us. But here's the thing. Do you realize, I'm sure you don't realize it, but you guys have actually paved the way for old music to make its presence felt in Bhutan. It was because of the success of you guys over the ensuing years after that competition onwards that so many other younger people started looking up to you guys. And then inevitably, whenever we had a band at Mojo Park, a new band, they would be playing stuff from the baby boomers time. They'd be playing rock and roll and stuff like that. Of course, they'd be playing some new stuff as well. But then they'd be playing a lot of that stuff. And I think to a large degree that is owed to you guys, huh? Yep. So you've had an indelible effect and influence on many younger musicians. How does that make you feel?
It feels amazing because the trend is like this. So now if one does it, everybody does it. So if you're the first one to do it, it's such a great feeling.
I think you have to take pride in that, Dawa. I seriously think you have to take pride in that. The fact that you made a conscious choice. You guys made a conscious choice to take a certain direction in music at that time. And of course, your direction has changed now.
Yes,
and it rightfully should. After all, we're all evolving, right?
Yes.
Just as our musical tastes are evolving. But you took a deliberate decision. And for a bunch of young teenagers, you took a decision that was brave. And that was also wise, I think. Because in many senses, it gave you a very strong foundation, I think, musically as well. When you think about it, a lot of the younger people who do music, and even older, who do contemporary music, they know how to sing the songs, they know how to play the chords, but they don't necessarily have that depth or that foundation. Yeah. And you realize
that's where it all starts.
Yeah, and you realize a lot of that has to do with what kind of music they're playing.
Yeah.
Because when you stop with the baby boomers thing, and Chuck Berry and all of that, you're getting down to the core, the basics, and the fundamentals.
Yes,
that's all sound over there, and therefore you are able to evolve more. I think. Yes. I think a lot of the younger people are stuck where they are, or even some are older also, but they're stuck where they are. Because of that inability to grow theoretically or musically, let's just say, I think. Whereas because of that sound foundation that you guys have, you are now dabbling with jazz. You see? Anyway, we'll get into a discussion about jazz and all of that stuff and the blues and all of that in just a while. But let's go back to your playlist once because we need to play your next song. which is I Discover You, again, one of your originals from the album,
Yes.
the Baby Boomers album, which we will talk about after the break, by the way. All right, so tell us about the song.
Well, this is a song inspired by one of our female friends.
Okay.
And
was she pretty?
she's very pretty.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And she has a kid.
Okay.
So
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So she's the kind of person who looks for the sword and not the knight in shining armor.
Okay. Wow.
That pretty much sums everything up.
I'm not quite sure what that means. She looks for the sword and not
Not the
for-
knight.
Not the
in
knight.
shining armor.
I don't know what that means, really. I don't know what that means. But anyway, yeah. Continue. Right.
Yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So this is a song that you guys wrote with her in mind?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I have no idea what that means, to look for the sword and not the knight in shining armor. While the song's playing, I'll try and figure it out what that means. Anyway, yeah. Let's take a look at As I Discover You by the Baby Boomers. All right, yeah, we're back on My Mixtape here on Radio Valley 99.9 FM. Our guest today here on the show is the guitarist from the Baby Boomers, Dawa Drakpa. Right. Dawa, we listened to As I Discover You from the album, the Baby Boomers album. You want to talk about this? The album?
Yes, absolutely. Because, well, the idea behind making this album came from us touring outside. And when we went on tours outside and we saw other bands playing their original materials, it just blew us off. And when we came back home, we had this urgency to
Express
get it out
yourself,
there, like expressing ourselves, like telling our own stories. That meant more than just playing covers. And so that became one of the most important tasks for us. So ever since we got back from tour, we started recording, and it was such a fun experience, just playing around, experimenting. And I wish we had more time to just focus on that and not gig all the time playing other covers.
Well, the sad part is that now it holds true not only here in Bhutan but everywhere in the world. There just isn't money in making your own songs. Of course, you have to do your own songs, but in making albums, because nobody buys albums anymore. Everybody just copies from the net, which in a great way is good also in many ways, because it makes everything democratic and
it makes the people want to see us live.
Yes, exactly. And that is where it's at. That's why you have to gig a lot. You have to be at places. I mean, the world's biggest bands, even the Metallicas and all, they don't make money from album sales.
Yeah.
It's all from live shows now and appearances at different gigs and events. That's how they make the money, I think, more or less. And of course, some income through the way of royalties and all that does help as well in their case. But unfortunately over here, we have to. I mean, musicians have to. If you want to keep doing what you want to do, you have to. Did I sound like the Spice Girls there?
No.
Tell me what I want. I really want. You want to do what you want to do, right? If you have to do what you want to do, then. You have to do the gigs, and the gigs aren't necessarily the most lucrative options. You don't get very well paid, and most often, as I have found, bands will rack up a credit account at the bar, which far outweighs the fees that they get. I suppose that's one of the downsides to having people who drink in your band. Anyway, right, okay. So you've had a lot of gigs then. I've had the pleasure of having played on innumerable gigs with you guys, and I have to say that while I do enjoy the experience of jamming with probably anyone, I have had the most organic fun, I think, with you guys. It's somehow we connect. I think to a large degree we connect, and I just needed to put this out there. Yeah, I've enjoyed myself
it's such a great feeling when it clicks.
Yeah, when it clicks. Yeah, when I've known those intense moments when the whole the entire audience, or at least 99% of the audience, is hooked on you. They're watching your every move, and it's just the music and the sound and what they're seeing on stage. Those are moments to live for. Yeah, those are the moments that I guess. Do you consciously remember these moments?
Not while on stage, while playing.
Yeah. It's like you're in a dream, no? I don't know. For me, it's that sort of thing.
It's more like making love.
Yeah,
you don't remember.
So. Yeah, you don't really.
But you want to do it more.
Yes. Oh, that's a nice way to put it. That's a very nice way to put it. Yeah. It's like I get possessed. I have no recollection of
exactly.
Yeah, and I have no conscious decision about what I'm doing, but it's just happening. And yeah, you're just going with the flow, right? And then after everything is done, you're like, wow, that was something. No? Yeah, that's the beauty of the stage, I think, is great. But as you said, you have to create your own material, which I have to a large degree done also. But none of my songs have been recorded till now. Tell me about that. What is the difference? No. I mean, the fact that you can get your own music out there and people are listening to your music and appreciating it and talking about your songs and singing along to your own songs. I mean, how different is that from playing a cover?
Well, I just realized that I could never write a book. And then if I make a song and it's gonna have the same effect as writing a book.
Wow,
it's gonna remain throughout, even if you're long gone.
Right.
So, yeah, to tell the stories through music, it's a way of, I think, it's same as writing a book and leaving a legacy.
Wow.
A little piece of you behind.
Right. Yeah, I know. I mean, I have this one song that was accidentally recorded right here in this very studio on these very microphones live while we were doing a show, which is the Himchuna song, Himchunale. And before long, a lot of people were singing it. And even today now, I hear people singing it. People know the words. People sing along when I'm singing it. And that's like, I feel pretty good about that. So I'm sure it's extremely fulfilling to be able to bring out your own album.
True.
But you guys went on to do something slightly different. I think you guys are finding new direction over the years. You have definitely been evolving. In fact, your name itself also changed after a while. From the Baby Boomers became Pine Jam.
Pine Jam.
Right.
So, yeah. It wasn't long ago that we changed the name to Pine Jam. We have come a long way, and since we've been together playing music and we've been experimenting a lot, and turns out we sound a lot different than what we would usually play with covers. And then the songs that we played, the original materials that was coming out of us, didn't sound like Baby Boomer music. So we had to change our names, make it more reasonable. So we decided to come up with Pine Jam, which simply means our country it's filled with pine trees, and we happen to jam, and Pine Jam. There you go.
And even the idea, if you think in terms of like bread and jam also, but you're actually having jam. Well, pine produces raisin, not jam, but still, you made jam from pine wood. Imagine how that would taste. I think it would taste very Bhutanese. But then it's interesting that you say that you had to change the name because of the kind of music that you were doing. And this is the point that I wanted to get to, where like I said, your sense of music, the direction has been almost like going backwards, not in a bad way, backwards in the sense of trying to get to the roots and understanding and in fact actually getting more into depth, I think. So right now you are dabbling with jazz. I mean, that's a decision. Anybody who starts dabbling in jazz and starts getting into jazz makes a very conscious decision, and that decision is you will lose at least 70% of your listeners.
That's true, unfortunately.
Right, yes. But you will gain 200% satisfaction in what you do.
Yeah, spoken like a true prodigy.
No, I think that's true. No, if you're doing stuff like jazz, it's not everybody's cup of tea, because it's a slightly more elevated and advanced form of music. Yet when you're doing it for yourself, and I can't play jazz, of course, maybe a little bit on the harmonica, but when you're doing stuff like jazz, you're actually trying to explore and experiment and express and diversify and all of that. And you will lose a lot of your listeners that way, right? Because it's not simple music. It's not people simple that everybody can digest.
True.
So was that a conscious decision also?
Yeah, but I feel like it's gonna work because I'm experimenting something new.
Okay.
And I'm sure, hopefully, a lot of the listeners out there will get to hear it soon. But still a work in progress. So I'm trying to mix hip-hop and jazz.
Wow!
So that people can listen to jazz.
Okay, that sounds extremely interesting. Hip-hop and jazz.
Yeah, just the beats.
Okay.
But the music is going to be jazz.
Okay.
The beats is going to be hip-hop.
All right. Okay. I can see where this is
Make
going.
it listenable.
All right. Yeah, because jazz, the thing is this. Normally what happens in jazz, so basically you don't want a jazz drummer.
I would love to. We need more drummers.
No doubt. But with what you're doing, the drumming will have to, I think. Well, no, you could still do it a hip hop style and have it jazz as well. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could still do it. But for starters, it's probably better to keep it simple. I realize that the discussion's getting a little technical over here, but hey, come on. There are many music people out there as well who understand what we're talking about also. And by the way, when we're talking like that, we're not trying to be intellectually snobbish or anything of that sort. It's just a common interest area, I think, between Dawa and I. That's why. Yeah, but then again, here's the thing. Did I say thing? Here's the thing. You can also do easy jazz, which is very listenable and digestible.
Yeah, lots of fun. Yeah, jazz. Yeah. There's like bossa nova jazz.
There you go.
There's like bebop jazz. There's like soft jazz. There's like hardcore jazz.
Some of the young kids these days, what was it last time? One girl was singing "Fly Me to the Moon."
Oh, those are the softer kind.
Yeah, the softer kind. And it's very listenable.
Yes.
A lot of people can relate to it, and especially if you can do it with the flair, like a Sinatra. If you can really do it with that sort of flair and taste and refinement, I am sure a lot of people will sit up and take notice. In fact, I have seen on what is it? This the show on TV, The Voice. The Voice.
Oh,
Yeah. So on one of those, one of the guys who did extremely well, in fact, was a guy who was doing jazz, and it was just so nice to see and mellow and fun, And he did it with this style as well, which is very nice. So I'm sure it can be explored. Yeah, I'm sure it can be explored. But kudos to you and to Pine Jam for doing the stuff that you do. Even the covers that one of the reasons why I don't like to miss you guys when you guys are playing, I want to be there at the gig, is because even your covers are like lovely stuff, man. It's stuff I enjoy tremendously. It's not everybody's cup of tea, but I love that stuff, man. And of course, jamming with you guys is even more fun. All right, Dawa, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into your playlist. I have another song from your album. I know it's a personal favorite of yours. You guys often play the song at your gigs as well. Old Moon. Tell us about the song.
Oh, Old Moon is a song written by Ugitsuri.
Right. I could make out.
Yeah.
And he always says, Wold Moon. Wold Moon.
He has his own ways.
Yeah.
Mefam and me, we composed the music, Sarjan the percussions, and Darpan, we're just glad to have him on board in the last minute. He just jumped in and he filled us up with great riffs of bass. And then Old Moon was written in like few weeks time.
Okay.
Didn't take a lot of like effort and energy into it.
Okay.
It just came out, and we have to say that we are very much impressed by this song. We thought that this song will be the most popular from the album, and it did. A lot of the people had good reactions to it, and good feedbacks, and we knew that was going to happen somehow.
Okay.
Because we tried to made the sound very snappy.
Okay.
And it kind of worked, and that's one reason I picked the song.
Right. I have to say that I think this is one of those songs where I noticed Ugitsiri's voice and his singing style has matured tremendously. I remember there was a point, particularly in the early years, where Ugi always felt a little awkward, just like how he'd move on stage.
Yeah, he needs to get out of his comfort zone.
Even his voice used to sound that little awkward. It was not quite there, but not quite. That sort of feeling. And I think now in the last 2 or 3 years, his voice has come into his own. It's very original. And Old Moon is certainly an example of that, where we see Ugi break out into his own style and his own way. All right, so let's check that out then. Old Moon. Righto! Here we move on to the final segment of My Mixtape here on Radio Valley 99.9 FM. In the studio with my guest, Dawa Drakpa, the guitarist from the Baby Boomers, and now Pine Jam. By the way, Pine Jam is playing tonight at Mojo Park, is it? Am I right about that?
Yes,
Dawa?
We're playing today and tomorrow.
Okay.
Starting 9 till 12.
Right. I hear you have a busy schedule.
Very busy. Because starting Monday, we are leaving for Sikkim.
Okay.
We have a gig in Sikkim in Gangtok Grooves, I think.
All right. Okay, wow. So you go all the way to Gangtok, play one gig and then come back?
Actually, 2 gigs.
2 gigs. Okay, fine. Okay, nice. Unfortunately, your bassist has left because he went to seek greener pastures, I think. In Australia, right? Yes, he wanted to make friends with some kangaroos. So who's filling in for him then?
Well, surprisingly, it's your former guitarist. Well, he's been very nice enough to
Ngong Ishe, you mean?
Yes.
Okay, all right. He plays a decent bass, by the way. Yeah.
He's incredible.
Yeah.
He's picked up a lot of songs, tough ones.
Okay.
Actually.
Wow.
And very impressive.
And he's actually a guitarist, not really a bassist, but
still.
Yeah. Paksha, for example, has also gone to Australia now. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, he's gone to Australia. One of the best guitarists we've had around here. He plays a mean bass as well, by the way. All our bassists and all the good guys are going. And you're going to Sikkim. And only I'm back here. Anyway, right, okay. But yeah, good luck with what you're doing and your concert. And I'll definitely come to Mojo Park tonight and check out the Pine Jam.
Not just check out, we're gonna jam.
Okay, all right. See, now this is the thing. When people ask me these days, do you still play at Mojo Park? I'm like, not really. But the truth is, very often, guys like you guys are kind enough to tell me, why don't you come join us and jam? And I'm like, yeah. Yeah, because, the magic of the stage. I prefer playing at home now. I'm that sort of a player. I like the process of discovery and just experimentation and doing nonsensical stuff, essentially, at home. But the magic of the stage is something that I live for as well. And so thank you very much. I will definitely come with my harmonicas and let's see what we can do. Right. So we took a look at your album. We talked about Pine Jam and its evolution. I wanted to get down specifically not just on Baby Boomers but on you as a guitarist. Tell us about this thing, this instrument. Why did you decide to become a guitarist in the first place?
Well, my first love was actually drums.
Right, okay.
I'm still learning to play the drums.
Okay.
And,
well, I've seen you play the drums once in a while, and of course you do a pretty good job.
And And secondly, it's the trumpets. I
yes,
got the
you've been playing the trumpet as well. Yes.
And I got the trumpets last year, and so sad to say that it's hard to get stuff here. Like simple as a small bottle to clean the trumpet valves.
Oh.
I couldn't find it, so one of the valves broke, and then I couldn't play it anymore.
Oh, that's what happened with the trumpet.
Yeah.
I was wondering why, because I saw you getting some place with the trumpet.
I was.
And I was like quite excited about it. And then all of a sudden it stopped, and I was like, why did he quit? So it was that. What a shame that is. What a shame that is. But I'm sure you can, get it fixed, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find a way.
It should be possible in Kolkata. I'm definite about that. Even in Siliguri to some extent, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
check it out.
All right. Anyway, yep. Okay, so...
And then comes guitar.
Okay.
I have a guitar. It's a Ibanez vintage. It's a collectible guitar that I...
let's talk about that. That's an interesting guitar. Yes.
Yeah, it has a very interesting story behind it. A guy from America actually sent it to me, thinking that Bhutan... I said that it's hard to not buy a guitar, just to buy a set of strings is hard. So he felt a bit, I don't know, he felt bad for me, I guess. So that's why he sent me the guitar.
How kind of him.
Yes, I'm so grateful about it. And then the guitar has a very good history.
Yes, very interesting history.
Ibanez vintage collectible. It was actually lawsuit was put up against the guitar company by Gibson for stealing their copy.
The design, the
exact
look,
replica of SG guitar. So ever since that lawsuit happened, the production completely stopped. So only a handful people own that guitar, and I'm one of those handful people.
And Gibson SGs come with a rosewood, a mahogany neck with a rosewood fingerboard. Yours has a maple neck and maple fingerboard as well, which is unique again. To have an SG, again, I realize we're getting a little technical here, but okay, come on. People both interested in guitars, give us that little room. Please accommodate. Right, yeah, so an SG with a maple neck is as it is very uncommon, which is why the minute you got that guitar, I was like, whoa, where did that come from? Wow, because it was so unique. Yes, and obviously that's a shape that you associate with Gibson. But then when I saw the Ibanez, I was like, and then I found out that there was actually a lawsuit and all of that. And so yes, it is a very collectible item. And I remember telling you also, if at any point you want to sell this, you know who to come looking for, right? But guitars and me, man, I just love that stuff. But I'm trying to control it and all that. In fact, I'll be selling off a few of my gear and stuff also. I need to downsize and improve the quality while downsizing the quantity. Anyway, yep. So you've been still playing that. You used to play another Ibanez earlier.
It was a black GIO Ibanez starter's guitar. So yeah, I started off with that guitar.
But that was pretty decent as well, or as much as you say it's a startup guitar, whatever, but it was pretty decent as well. I remember you got some pretty good tones on that. But your Ibanez is humbuckers. I would imagine that for the kind of music you do,
single
coils, would probably, or at least P90s would suit. Again, we're getting technical here, but nonetheless, yeah. But are you thinking about getting a new guitar at some point?
Yes, of course I am.
All right, okay. Right. Single coils, I think, and at least P90s would suit your stuff better.
Just talking about guitars, just making me want to go to Mojo Park right now. Jam off.
No, but here's the other thing. There was somebody out there in America who heard your story through a mutual friend, and then decided to send you that guitar. How kind. Why don't I meet those people? Right. Anybody out there in America or anywhere else in Germany, etc., the Duesenberg Star Players TV special is the guitar that I want. If you're feeling kind, we don't get that guitar here. Absolutely impossible to get that guitar here. I will never be able to buy it because it's bloody expensive. It'll cost in Bhutanese currency about a 1.8 lakhs probably. So I'll never buy it, because even if I could afford it at some stage, I wouldn't be able to justify the expense to myself. But if somebody donates it to me, please. See, so shameless I am. But nonetheless, we have to have that degree of shamelessness in musicians, etc. Right. All right. So you were thinking about getting another guitar as well. All right. Now, I want to close the show with your plans for the future. I don't mean your professional future, all of that. I'm sure you have certain things planned for that. But what we're interested in as listeners and people who know you as, you know, a member of the Baby Boomers and Pine Jam, what is the future for you guys? What are you looking at? What are your plans? Tell us.
There's a bigger world out there, and so much to explore, so much to see. So the only way we can get out of here is to come up with our own original stuff, make it fresher, make it sound new, make it sound exotic or whatever. And just the main focus is to like get it all done and travel.
Right.
And make the world listen to whatever you have to say.
You know, one thing I can tell you, Dawa, is that while you're going through that journey of trying to, you know, take something out and develop your own sounds, I am sure you will have many considerations. One will be your own inspirations, where you want to go musically. The other will also be what the world wants to hear. The other will be what people here want to hear. So there's a lot between expectations and your own personal aspirations, and you will have to balance the two. I'm sure you understand that. But it sounds good. And I really do think that the future, in fact, for a lot of the Bhutanese musicians, is something that I tried and just didn't work with a group of people that I was working with, is that you have to head out. Head out. Head out. Because this place is just too small. And I have no disrespect to my own country or to my own countrymen. But yeah, this place is just too small. For something like music, this is just too small. And you have to head out. Even if you could break into the Indian circuit as, hey, the band from Bhutan, you know, that in itself is good. That'll get you many gigs. That'll keep you going. You'll be recognized, all that. So it'll give you the resources that you need to do many things. And I realized the other thing also, you have to learn to talk a lot more. Because then every time you're interviewed, the interviewer will have to talk more than you. No, but fantastic job, by the way. I didn't expect you'd be as expressive.
I didn't expect this was going to happen today.
Right. No, but then nonetheless, you did a fantastic job. It was an absolute pleasure having you here, Dawa.
Thank you very much.
So before we close out the show, let's take a look at, we had Old Moon a while ago, which is your own song. And then all of a sudden, your final song while you're here is Pink Moon. From Old Moon, we move to Pink Moon. Kind of looks, the way I see the progression is like, I'm the old moon and I like a younger woman, so she's the pink moon. No, we're going in all crazy directions with that. Right, okay, but Pink Moon by Nick Drake. Yeah, I don't even know who Nick Drake is, by the way.
He's a singer-songwriter from England.
Okay.
And he is one of the influences that influenced me to write more.
Ah, all right.
Not to the extent how Bob Dylan writes.
Right, yeah.
Be concise and to the point. Like whatever you have to say it in a beautiful way. And I don't know, Nick Drake does it better.
Okay. Oh, well, maybe differently. I wouldn't say better. Yes,
very differently.
I wouldn't say better because every person in their own right is a poet. If you just key into that wavelength, I'm sure you will find that. And having listened to your entire album many times, I have to say your songwriting is strong. It's very strong. It's not weak at all.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so
got a long way to.
Yeah. We all have a long way to go in whatever we do. But I see a sense of direction, and I see a sense of purpose there, and in all your endeavors, including music, Dawa Drakpa, I wish you the very best.
Thank you very much.
And I really mean that. So, all right. So, we're going to leave you then with Pink Moon. For those of you who are on radio, please understand that if you want to listen to the rebroadcast of the show, then the time to do it would be the same time tomorrow and the day after here on Radio Valley 99.9 FM. If not, you can catch the SoundCloud link on our Facebook page. And for all you guys out there on YouTube land, well, you can watch it anytime. But here's the thing. I have to say this very shamelessly. Like the video and subscribe. Because if you do so, then that gives us the resources to keep bringing this show and keep bringing interesting people to the show. And therefore, entertaining you. All right? So that's how it works. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. That's how it works. Right. Very simply put. Thank you so much, Dawa, for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. And like I said, good luck with everything that you do. Meanwhile, please remember, Pine Jam is playing at Mojo Park tonight and tomorrow before they head off to Sikkim. So if you want to experience some interesting music, then by all means drop down to Mojo Park. We're going to leave you with Pink Moon and the rest of Dawa's playlist.